Facebook's new Clear History feature is being rolled out in 3 countries. Users in Ireland, South Korea, and Spain will be able to use the new tool that aims to give users more control over their data privacy. Users in those countries will see a new section called Off Facebook Activity. When a user clicks it, they will see the apps and websites that are tracking their activity and sending reports back to Facebook for ad targeting purposes. Tapping the Clear History button will erase that data from the Facebook account. Joining us now to talk more about this is our tech expert from Nerds on Call, Ryan Eldridge. Ryan, always good to talk with you. This sounds kind of scary here. I'm going to see all of the data that's been passed along from apps and websites to Facebook. My user history. What exactly am I going to see when I use this new feature?
So when it's available to us in the U.S., hopefully later on this year, essentially you'll see a list of apps and websites that have reported back to Facebook your activity while you're on the web. So just to start from the beginning, every website you go to, everywhere on the planet, it's reporting information back to Facebook if they have something called a Facebook Pixel installed on their website, and almost all of them do. So Facebook knows an inordinate amount of information about you personally. So when you look at this feature, you'll see a list of all of these things, and you can turn them off and say, hey, I don't want to be associated with this content. I accidentally went to that website. Whatever the reason is, you can turn them off. You can also block them from tracking you in the future, which is kind of nice.
Yeah, I was going to say, so this is not just deleting data from the past. You can also say you don't want these companies to do this in the future. Can you just put out a blanket statement that says I don't want to be tracked at all by any website?
Wouldn't that be nice? Unfortunately, no. That's not currently in the current bill.
You have to pick and choose?
Now, they may come out with something in the future that allows you to do that, but yeah, for now you have to pick and choose. And interesting thing was there was a Pew Research study earlier this year, and it was asking people essentially, how do you change your privacy setting on Facebook? And most people, the vast majority of people in the research study, had no idea how to either navigate to the privacy settings, how to use the privacy settings, or what they were for. So Facebook is essentially rolling this out, and it's going to hurt their ad platform if people adopt this in droves. But most likely, most people aren't going to know it's there. They're not going to use it, and Facebook is essentially just getting a PR win by coming out with this interesting feature. But if Facebook is really going to be straight and honest with its users and say, hey, we're going to stop using you as a product, they would make this an opt-out feature or an opt-in feature rather than an opt-out feature. In other words, privacy would be default, but it's not.
And all right, and so this is interesting too, because I think if you go and you click and you use this Clear History feature, you think, okay, my data is taken care of, but this data is not actually being deleted by Facebook, is it?
Yes, no, unfortunately it's not. Actually, all they're doing is disassociating it from your account, and it can take up to 48 hours for that to happen. And during that 48 hours, Facebook is going to continue to use that data for whatever they want. After that 48 hours, they'll still use it in their ad products in the sense of like targeting females between 18 and 49 or targeting people that of a certain demographic, things that you're doing when you're on Facebook itself rather than what you're doing when you're off Facebook.
All right, so they're hanging on to my data just in case they need it down the road. Is there a downside, Ryan, to clearing my data history and disassociating my history with my Facebook account?
Well, on the consumer side, there's not really much of a downside. I mean, if you're a big fan of making sure that the ads are more relevant to you, so you've been on Amazon in the last few weeks and you've looked at certain things and all of a sudden you see that in your Facebook feed and you kind of like those reminders and that personalized experience, then don't do anything. But if you think that's creepy, I was just talking to my friend about that weird pillow, and all of a sudden it's showing up on my news feed. Something's weird. If that bothers you and gives you the heebie-jeebies, turn that off. You're going to want to turn that off so they can't track that sort of thing. It doesn't mean that you're going to be perfect, though. Google still does this stuff. Google just has a much larger, broader platform, and so Facebook could still use the data from Google rather than using their own data to create the exact same stuff.
Yeah, so there's always a potential workaround here. Why the slow rollout here? I mean, this new feature is only being rolled out now in 3 countries. Why is Facebook sort of, doing this at such a slow pace?
Well, their engineering department posted a release the other day that said that the reason why is because it's taking so long. It's a new product that they've never had to do before, and no other website in the world is doing this. So they had no real framework to work with. They had to build it all from the ground up. But I kind of suspect the reason they're doing a slower rollout is that way they can kind of mitigate the amount of adoption. So if you roll it out in 3 countries and only 12% of the populace take advantage of the new feature, all of a sudden they're not hurting their bank account in the U.S. and Europe where they're dominant.
It's not necessarily a feature they want a whole lot of users to actually use. And again, Ryan, what did you say? How long do you think before users here in the U.S. will be able to use this feature?
There's no 100% guarantee that it'll end up happening anytime this year, but that would be my guess. I think they're going to wait for a nice, slow news cycle, probably sometime around Christmas time, and they'll roll it out to the rest of us, and then we'll be able to use it as we will. But I think it may still change. Like I said, since it's only in 3 countries, I'd definitely consider this a beta test. There is likely that we're going to see a lot of changes to how this is going to happen. And Facebook is notorious for hiding these kinds of features deep, deep, deep into their privacy menus. So you may have some trouble finding it once it actually does come out.
All right, got to look hard for it. Ryan Eldridge from Nerds on Call. Always appreciate talking to you. Thanks.
You're welcome.
All right, let's